So hello everyone and welcome to the next installment of the Thursday Talk. This week we're joined by international dressage rider Judy Reynolds and her husband Patrick Heavey. Hi guys, lovely to have you, and how are you doing?
Hi Judith.
Hi, thank you so much for asking us to be a part of this. Really exciting.
Yeah, doing pretty good. Busy enough at home. Some of the younger horses are after arriving over, so we're kind of kept going with those guys. It takes about an hour to get them to lift up their feet to pick them out. So yeah, plenty to do at the moment. Good. Missing home. Haven't been there in a good while, but yeah, missing the competitions as well. But that's just the way it is at the moment. You know, you just have to keep
When
going.
was the last time you got home? Because I know normally I see you guys maybe 2 or 3 times a year, maybe at the Horse Road Awards, probably at a championship or a big show somewhere, and then maybe again at the end of the year. And Judy, I did actually get to see you in February, just when the word COVID was starting to be bounced around. But Patrick, you didn't make it. Have you been home since? Did you get home in the summer or?
Oh.
No, that was the last time I was home when I saw you. So that was the last. Yeah, that was my last trip. You haven't been home for even longer.
Last year sometime was the last time I was home.
Gosh.
I actually can't remember the last time I was home, to be honest. Like a lot of the time, it is stuff like the Irish Field.
I think
Awards
September
and stuff
last
like
year you were home. That was probably the last time.
Yeah.
So been a while. Yeah.
Oh, it's hard, isn't it? No matter kind of how long you're in Germany or how busy you are, you still like the feeling of coming home.
Yeah. Well,
really do.
There was a couple of things that kind of I miss out on that I would have very much enjoyed. I've got a big family. I'm the youngest of 6. I have 4 sisters and a brother, and they all have kids and everything else. And my mum and dad, and there's a lot of us, you know. And my mum and dad were 50 years married during the summer, which they had a little bit of a coronavirus party for, as much of a party as they could have. And Mum was 70 there about a week ago. You know, so they would have been 2 reasons to get home and to meet up with everybody and have a bit of crack. But yeah, missed out on that. But like, it's just you know, well, when next year when we do get home, we'll have a follow-up party or a makeup party or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. And I think everyone just has to kind of make the best of it. Before we came on recording there, you guys said you're staying in Germany for Christmas. Is it the first time or have you stayed before?
No, we've stayed a few times. We've well, probably in the last 5-6 years we've been here more than we've been at home. You know, with the yard, lots of horses, it's not easy to get away because, you know, you're typically the girls that work for us or the staff that work for us here, they tend to be younger people and they want to get home for Christmas, you know, and you know, we're softies and tend to let them go, but you know, then we end up being here. But you know, we've also become very settled here really over the years, and Patrick does cook a mean Christmas dinner, so he's in charge of that one. You know, my mum is very good. She posts our presents over to us, and you know, we do still enjoy Christmas here. Of course, if we could get home, we would like to. Maybe the next couple of years we will get home again. It is a time I miss because it is when everyone is together, the whole family. But you know, it's the same. You know, our life is here. So.
It's pretty special. It's nice. Kathleen really does kind of spoil you. You know, she looks after you. You just go home and you put the feet up in front of the fireplace, and it's lovely. Like, so we do miss that, but. Yeah, we enjoy ourselves here as well. Like, we've built up our circle of friends and everything else here that we'll see over Christmas. And like last year, I play a bit of golf, and there's another Irish guy in the golf club, and he invited us around to his house for a Christmas dinner and stuff. You know, so kind of it's just like it's home away from home now at this point. But yeah, we do miss Christmas.
Well, 2020 obviously has been. We won't talk about COVID all night because people will leave the conversation, but. How has it been for you guys? I mean, you know, Judy, you were expecting to be in Tokyo in July, August. You know, Ireland had qualified a team. It was ramping up to be probably the most exciting year ever. And then, you know, it's been very different.
Yeah, it certainly hasn't been the year anybody expected, you know, by a long shot. And obviously, the whole Olympics being postponed was a, you know, pretty, you know, crushing at the time, but you never know. These things happen for a reason, obviously. And, you know, we always do try and, you know, look for the silver lining in whatever way it might come. So, you know, maybe there's benefits to it, who knows? But it was, big plans for the year, definitely. And not one of them has really happened. But at the same time, you know, as I say, silver linings, and it's given us a chance to have young horses really come on. And, you know, for the first time, we have 4 3-year-olds in the stable. So it's, you know, back to, as Patrick said, you know, back to teaching them how to pick up their feet, you know, get their feet picked out, you know, all the stuff you just take for granted with the older horses. And it's been great to have the time to do that, you know. And
can you picture Judy trying to teach a 3-year-old how to pick up
Yeah.
whatsoever? But
and that's Patrick's job.
When I'm running a bit late with doing something, you know, that's where I am. Like, and say, no, we're still working.
Yeah. But you love that, Judy, though, doing the young horses as well, don't you?
Yeah, I haven't done them in a few years, so it's definitely was a bit of a, you know, culture shock again. But now that I'm back into it, yeah, I do love it. And it's amazing how fast, you know, they pick stuff up and how they progress and change. And, you know, in a matter of weeks, you see development, or even days, you know, and that's really exciting. Whereas the older horses, the progression does tend to be a bit steadier, you know. I suppose just the level they're at. But
we're very lucky. The 4 that we have are very, very willing. You know, they're good charactered, good natured. They're not complicated. Like, you know, 2 of them, Judy gets on now without lunging them or anything. You know, they're just really well behaved. Like, you know, just really, really good. So they're trying to figure out what we want. They're trying to do the right things. Do you know what I mean? They're not arguing with you, or they're not being cheeky or whatever. They're literally just trying to understand you. So it's a lot of fun working with the babies, obviously.
And were they on the farm at home in Ireland then? Is that where they came from? Is that where all your young stock are?
Yeah, the last few years we've bought foals here in Germany and then sent them home. And these are the first ones now to come back. So now hopefully the plan is year on year we'll have young horses coming in, so that we'll have, you know, horses coming up through the ranks, because, you know, dressage horses, good talented dressage horses, are really, really expensive to buy, you know. So we've decided to, you know, go the other way and buy foals. Don't really want to get into breeding our own just yet, but you know, so buying foals and going with it that way, and then hopefully we'll always have a supply of horses coming through.
Now they have been living the life on the farm. I don't know if you're ever up in Judys, but beautiful big green up on the side of the hill, and it's horse heaven for young horses, you know. But so they're really well looked after. And I don't know if you know a guy called Floyd Earl Crow. He lives quite close to Judy's farm, and he's been very good. He's been looking after the young horses. He's kind of been doing a bit of work with them, kind of going out, checking on them fairly regularly, bringing them in, putting the head collars on, doing a bit of loading training.
And he did a great job of making them civil.
They're gents, like, you know, they walk along beside you, no problem. They've got good trust for their humans. He's done a very nice job with them.
And that's so important, isn't it? When they're coming into a busy yard, you know, as much time as you like to give them, when they come and they're civilized, it makes life a lot easier.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
And will you back them, Judy, or do you have people working there, or will you send them out to someone, or?
No, they got backed in Ireland. Mags Power did that for us, so they just did a couple of weeks at Mags and just got sat on a few times, and then they went back out to the field in Ireland for a couple of months again, and then they came over to us. So we had to restart them. Okay. And I did have a girl in the yard. She's a jumping rider, so she got to be guinea pig the first couple of times.
But that's what she does. She does it professionally, you know. But she basically started from square one, as if they'd never had a saddle on before.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, she's very, very brave, and she's good fun as well. She's very quiet, calm. You know, she doesn't get excited. But with the 2 girls that came over recently, the 2 boys came over about a month and a half ago, or 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And then the 2 girls arrived out there last week, and the second time the first time she took them out, put the tack on, lunged them. Second time did the same thing and sat on. You know, like, so.
They're not really like as if they were starting from zero, No, Mags did a great job with them, and they're very clear in the head, I have to say. So so we're getting into riding them now ourselves, and it's fun doing it again.
They're nice. Yeah. It's a couple of really nice ones.
Great. And so just for someone that maybe doesn't have, including myself, like that real in-depth dressage background, how soon, Judy, would you start like trying to do movements with them?
Oh, for the first, year, really, it's just about getting the basics in as well as you can. I don't like to start doing too much with movements too soon, because I don't, what happens when you, sorry to kind of skip ahead, but often what happens when you get an older horse in for training is, you get a horse in with a story and this doesn't work or this doesn't work, whatever. But 9 times out of 10, it's the basics were either rushed or missed, so I put a huge value on having good basics, and that's all the babies will do now for the first at least 6-9 months. Just, straight on straight lines, corners, circles, transitions, speed control, just, being obedient, being polite, polite on the hand, polite on the leg. And then if that's in and, a real solid foundation, I don't mean to sound, fickle, but the rest becomes easy as such. Mm-hmm. So, we'll spend as much time as they need doing that, but at least, half a year to a year, at least.
Like at the moment, they're still growing. And
they only get ridden 3 days a week.
They have to find their own balance. They have to find where they're putting their feet themselves before you start asking too much of them. They really just need to. Judy just at the moment she's doing a great job, but she just helps them trying to find a rhythm that they can go along nicely in. We're not asking a whole lot of them other than just listen, try and work out what we want. When we ask you to stop, and ask you to go, and just really take your time with them when they're young. Don't put them under too much pressure, because that's like this is the time. You've got a blank canvas now. Do you know what I mean? And you can start it off on a really nice path, or what a lot of people do, they put them under a little bit too much pressure at this time, and that just comes out in problems in the end. An attitude, in having not learned things properly, like Judy was saying, not going straight or not being able to do a bend properly or a corner or stuff like this. So at the moment, we're just really taking our time, letting them find their own way, their own balance, their own bodies, and just like as they learn, we'll bring them on as well.
Okay.
Good. They're quite clever.
Yeah, that helps, doesn't it? When they have a good brain, it's so important. Yeah. So let's go back a little bit, Patrick. As I was saying, Judy is always in the headlines, but I'm sure you're a little bit more behind the scenes. And as I was saying, I've met you plenty of times. I've met you plenty of times now. But your background in the sport, you weren't really into horses before you met Judy, I think, were you?
I hadn't a clue of horses. Dad was always into his race horses, and he had 1 or 2 with friends of his, but I would never have seen them. I remember the first time, kind of when I started going out with Judy, Heike Holstein had Tiny at the time. I don't know if you remember him, our dressage horse. It's 20 years ago, when I was up in Cavan. I went up to Cavan to see what was going on, and Heike was getting Tiny ready, and I was afraid to move in case I scared the horse, so I just came in and stood very quiet, just looking at this huge thing, just barely afraid to move. Didn't have a clue. So but like I said, we're together 20 years now, and just listening and watching and learning, I've picked up a little bit along the way, and it's fun. I enjoyed them anyway. Yeah.
But you have a big role now, because I know. I mean, you're in Judy's ear when she's warming up. I mean, it's been a.
No, like I said, at the start when Judy moved out to Germany, kind of like while we were still going out, obviously while we were still going out, I used to come out for the weekend, and Judy didn't stop riding because I was out here visiting for a weekend, so I would just come to the yard and I'd be sitting in the corner beside Pizzi or beside Johan or beside whoever was teaching Judy at the time, and just listening, because it was really interesting. It's just like, it was amazing listening to what they were saying and watching what was coming through with the horse and everything else, and a lot of it kind of registered. I did find it very, very interesting, so I did pay attention, and I picked up a good bit, and it's just from years of listening and going to shows. And
but Patrick has a way with the horses, very calming influence over the horses, and especially the young ones, or, you know, if we get a tricky horse in, you know, Patrick's very good at getting, you know, in the groundwork, getting them listening, and, you know, making them feel more secure in their environment, which, you know, is a big factor when horses are, you know, are nervous.
That would help JP a lot, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a bit of a head kick that shows. But no, he does. Like, I mean, I like that they listen to me, and I understand that, like, they kind of want to get their calmness from the rider, or from the human, or from the person that they trust. You know what I mean? So, like, you have to stay calm for them. I mean, if you're worked up or getting too excited going to a competition, they're looking at you going, well, what's there to be excited about? What's going on? Are we in danger here or something? You know? So it's just nice to be able to stay calm and just understand that we're, like, they're looking at you saying, all right, well, he's okay, so I'm okay. You know?
Yeah, yeah. And do you ride at all? Would you hack out, or?
I used to a good bit more than I do now. When we were in Bertram Allen's yard, I used to ride a good bit there. Used to do a bit of jumping, and Bertram would give me lessons, and he asked me one day, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to jump 135. So an hour later, we were jumping 135. But no, I'm better at falling off than I am at riding. One day there was 2 jumps set up in Bertram's indoor, and I was doing a little Bertram Allen impression. You know, I jumped over the first one. I took a very tight turn to the second one on a horse that wasn't really able to take very tight turns, and we ended up jumping the wing. And we parted company on the way over the wing. I went left and she went right, and yeah, that was very spectacular. But no, I don't really ride.
The odd time he'll pipe up and say, "Oh, I want to ride and go for a hack or something," and then about 20 minutes later, he's like, nah, I'm done. Can we go home now?
That's good. Judy tends to put me on the wild ones, you know. So
no, I don't. My horses aren't easy for beginners. You know, they have far too many buttons programmed in, and, you know, you don't mean to clench or squeeze or press something that, you know, shouldn't be pressed, and suddenly, you know, they're piaffing or something, and you're going, where's the off button? And you know, not easy.
Like, I rode JP about 6 or 7 years ago out for a hack. We went out for a hack, and it was the most uncomfortable half an hour, 40 minutes of my life. You know, like, it was ridiculous. The thing I compare it to, I don't know if you've ever seen those, like, boxes on the side of the road. They're the ESB boxes, and they're kind of, there's a hum and the vibration of them all the time. But that's what it was like sitting on him. It just felt like he could explode in all directions at once at any second. He was just,
which he can.
Like, it was a tension underneath me. Do you know what I mean? And I just didn't really enjoy that. It's not my thing. I like working with them from the ground, but I've no interest in them now.
I prefer being on top. You know, I'm better on the horse than off the horse.
Yeah. And is JP always like that, Judy, when you're on him? Like, can he relax when he goes for a hack now, or is he always no?
You can't really switch off at any time. Like, even like going for a hack now, I think only recently I said to Patrick, you're gonna have to come out with me. I said, you know, he'll decide he's not gonna go past something, or you'll hack out, you know, 15 minutes in one direction, and, you know, you go to come home and suddenly you're piaffing the whole way home, you know, or
massaging sideways.
Cantering. And you try to explain to him that we're going an awful lot slower. It's going to take a lot longer to get home doing this.
He's not scared of anything. He's seen everything 1,000 times. I think he thinks it's funny or something. You know, like, he enjoys just being a brat. You know, like. So
hacking definitely can't switch off. In an outdoor, basically, you can never switch off because there's always something that can come out at you from any direction. In the indoor, yes, you can. It depends a little bit. You know, very cold day, you want to sit tight maybe for the first few minutes. If somebody decides to open a door unexpectedly, lots of reasons that JP can find to.
Yeah, but that's what makes him so special, I suppose, that he's.
Of course he is, you know.
But I don't know how Judy stays on him sometimes. I mean, I've seen Judy just trotting along, rise and trot in one direction or something, nice and calm, and literally in the blink of an eye, he's facing the other direction. Now, like, it happens that quick. I'm not exaggerating. It's blink of an eye stuff. And how Judy manages to just stay on in that moment, I don't know, because he can just decide all of a sudden gone, and he's gone before he decides to do it. Do you know what I mean?
He has become a bit quieter, you know, in his elderly teenage years, but I don't think that'll ever go. It's, you know, that's just
jazz.
him.
That's just what he is.
But normally when he goes into the big arena, he knows, doesn't he? And he focuses. Although I remember, what indoor show was it last year? Definitely last year, when
the World Cup finals.
And someone stood up just as you, yeah.
So it's still there. Like, I think generally at the shows we both become very focused, which obviously is a huge part of it. At home, you know, those things always happen when you're maybe not 100% focused on what you're doing. You know, and he throws in an unexpected move. But I think at the shows, he's learned definitely what his job is, and between us both being very focused, I think I certainly tend to blend out the rest of it. You know, I don't hear the music anymore. I don't see people anymore. And I think he gets into that, on the good days, he gets into that zone with me as well.
Yeah, well, the more you're focused on him, the more he's focused on you. It's kind of like, you know, two of them are working together, and they don't have time to be looking around at who's in the crowd or anything like that. So
that's why he's become so successful at Grand Prix, whereas he wasn't maybe the most successful horse up to that level. I think before Grand Prix, there wasn't enough going on in the test to keep him entertained.
Too much time to think.
Yeah.
We have another one like that. We have another one very like that.
Yeah.
When he has time to think, he's just thinking of shitty things to do. Sorry. He's just thinking of cheeky things to do. Yeah.
Yeah. We got a 6-year-old, just about, he's now 6, got him a year ago, and I was beginning to question my sanity, you know, at times, because he's like a kid with ADHD, you know. He's just, the hamster is spinning way too fast on the wheel, and getting his focus is interesting. And Patrick keeps telling me JP was worse.
JP was worse.
I don't know.
It's hard to remember, isn't it, when it was so long ago?
Well, which is the problem. I don't bounce quite as well. This guy
is just so easily distracted, you know what I mean? That you have to keep like asking him questions to keep him with you. Like, but I mean, he's far too clever, you know. He finds something boring, he's trying to find something to entertain himself, and that's kind of what JP was like. He was kind of the work wasn't enough for him up until Grand Prix level.
So how is JP? We obviously haven't seen him in a little while, since whenever.
Look after him, it's no problem. Get him out of here.
Yeah, he's great. He's you know, we haven't taken him out to any shows this year because, you know, I could never see the shows really picking up. So, you know, he is an older horse, and I didn't want to pick him up, put him down, you know, all that kind of stuff. So he's really enjoying having a nice time, you know. He's taking it easy. He's king of the yard, as always, and has everybody wrapped around his little finger, you know, as he does. And you know, he's enjoying himself, you know, having a great time. And hopefully, you know,
he's put on a few pounds.
He's a bit of corona weight.
And furry, I'm sure, as well.
Oh God, yeah. But because it was always with him, the shows kind of keep him trim, you know. So you know, because he doesn't have to work very hard, you know. He just, you know, it's only a case of keeping him happy and healthy. So
And are you very much hopeful then? I know it's always a hard question with an older horse, but you know, you're still hopeful that Tokyo is very much his goal.
It's always been the plan, to do another one with him. So you know, still hoping, as you say yourself, older horse. You know, he is going to be 19, although nobody's told him that, and you know, he certainly doesn't believe it. But he will be older, yes. And you know, I've always said it. I've said it since about 2 years already, that it'll be his decision when he no longer has that sparkle and that kind of naughty edge to him. Then we'll know, you know, it's time. But you know,
he's very, very clever horse, you know what I mean? And he can literally, like, you know yourself from knowing horses, like he can talk to you, you know, when he's in a bad mood, you know when he's in a good mood. You know, it's not difficult to work it out with this fella. He will tell you. But the other day we bought the truck to the garage to get it serviced, and it was the first time the truck moved in a good while. Now he was well annoyed when the truck went.
And left without him.
Like, so I mean, he still wants to go to shows, you know.
He really
like
does, yeah.
Shows are like holidays for him, where he's spoiled. He has Libby and Joe bringing boxes of carrots and apples and everything else, and he really, really enjoys them. So he still wants to go to shows, you know. Like, I mean, there was no doubting that he was very annoyed the other day. Like, he was showing everybody, I'm not impressed here. That's good. Like, he's in good form, but he will be 19 in a couple of weeks, you know. So while we are hopeful that he will keep going up until Tokyo and he'll come back up when the shows start again, that we'll get him back to where he was easily enough, we're still working on plan B and C. We have 2 more horses that are very, very nice. Like, we've got Leroy. You wouldn't have seen a whole lot of him.
Yeah, I actually think I saw him in Cavan last year, Judy, did I?
Yeah, at the seminar or the conference. He belongs to an Irish lady in America, Sonia Zugel.
She's the sponsor of the national championship, actually. Yeah.
Okay,
He's a lovely horse. He's confirmed at Grand Prix, and he'll do some international stuff. Well, the plan was to have taken him out this year and to do international, but it didn't really happen. So he'll do some international stuff, and he's a lovely horse. So we'll see what the judges kind of make of him when he gets out. And we have a really exciting
with a younger horse,
9-year-old.
Again, clever, just finds the work easy. Like, he just he's very, very easy to train because he's smart and he picks it up very quickly. But he's shown every bit as much. He
was actually in Cavan as well last year.
Fritz, is it? Yeah.
He's changed so much even since last year. Like, he's really come on, and he's doing everything out of the Grand Prix now as well. And he's kind of unflappable, which is great, so.
Yeah, you get off him at a competition, you just leave him there and walk away, and you just stand there going, okay.
Yeah. So he's
the opposite to JP, as in he's so calm.
Yeah, but he reminds me quite a bit of JP in the way he's been a little bit trained. So who knows? We're working away, and see what comes together.
Yeah. And did you get to do any national shows? Things opened up in Germany quite early in the summer, did they?
Yeah, June. I think we got. I think I did 4 shows this year, 5 shows, something like that. Not very. Like when the shows opened up, we did a couple of shows initially, and then 2 or 3 shows quite
with the younger horses.
The younger horses, and then
like a 6-year-old. We did a couple of recent George and Penny, didn't we?
We had all the other horses were out doing a bit. A couple of horses went to their first shows ever. Some of the other horses stepped up a level. So yeah, I think we did 5, maybe 6 shows. It wasn't a huge amount, but it kind of also did what we needed it to do in terms of horse getting out and seeing a bit. And we would have liked to. We were ready to keep going through October, November, but then everything shut down here again.
Yeah.
So we're hoping we'll be able to get back at it soon enough, but at the moment it's just not clear.
It's the same here. Well, we're officially out of lockdown since yesterday, so the second last leg of the Autumn Development Series Dressage is this weekend, I think. Yeah. So it's been amazing, actually. To see the entries in dressage in Ireland is just class. Like, it's, and like, you've been the girls in green and yourself, like, you've been a massive driver in that. And it's unbelievable to see kind of where dressage is at now, in Ireland.
It's amazing. Like, when you think about this year, and I hope I'm right in saying this, but that the pony team had 7 combinations to choose from, or more even. It's incredible that they left ponies at home that had been to championships for other countries. That was the quality and the depth that they had to choose from. And like you say, with the Autumn Development Series, looking at the participation level at the higher levels as well, that there's real depth coming into it, and it's fantastic to see how it's coming on all the time, and at such.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I don't know if I ever told you the story, Judith, about it's one of my favorite ones, actually. Judy was looking through Facebook one day, and we came across this picture of a girl who had to go to school dressed as her hero, and she was going to school dressed in her dressage gear with her top hat on and stuff like this. Do you know what I mean? Like a little.
Yeah.
But that's brilliant. Like, I mean, when Judy is kind of, I suppose, when she's on news and when she's doing well at competitions and when she's coming in, qualifying for the final at the Olympics and coming fourth at the World Cup and fifth at the Europeans, she's getting the coverage. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So kids, somebody to look at, like in dressage, it's not just the show jumpers anymore, the eventers, but they do have, like the girls in green as well. Like, I mean, to look at them and say, wow, you know, like they're out there and they're doing it and they're doing really well. And that's what I want. And that's kind of like where it comes from. But this, like, I mean, just it's brilliant. Like when you see this kind of stuff. I mean, for dressage, most like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, if you'd ask somebody, do you know what dressage is?
Didn't really know.
Yeah, I know. It's been amazing.
Vendors wouldn't have been able to tell you what dressage was.
I think I noticed a big change, you know, since Rio. I think Rio was a big game changer in terms of getting people interested in following dressage and understanding what it is. And I think, you know, we were lucky enough that Rio for us in a way was only the starting point in terms of what we were able to do after that. You know, Patrick said, you know, we had to, you know, since then World Cup finals, you know, on multiple occasions, you know, all the way through to the Europeans last year, you know, with the 5th place finish. And, you know, I think for me, that's when it really changed in terms of the media, you know, following and understanding and reaching a wider audience.
Yeah, but sure, hear stories about like friends of mine who, like a friend of mine from college, his dad, who would have nothing to do with horses, was explaining to guys down in Offaly watching the dressage on the telly, like what it was. You know what I mean? Like, and you have people who aren't into, like, they might know what horse racing is or whatever, but sport horses, they know show jumping. But they know now what dressage is, you know, and it's not just the equestrian people, it's also kind of people who normally don't really have a huge interest in equestrian sports. But when they see Ireland doing well, then you want to be kind of proud of your nation and everything else. And they want to get, lovely to see it, like, and to hear these stories back. It's always very nice and very encouraging.
What has been the highlight? And maybe both have different highlights. Maybe it's not one of the obvious, you know, 5th at the Europeans, 4th at the World Cup final, qualifying for a team. You know, maybe it's something else. But what would be the highlight for you, Judy, with, I suppose, JP over the last kind of glory years?
Wow. Yeah, there's so many. But I think for me, it was last year at Rotterdam in the Grand Prix. It's actually when I got my test sheets afterwards and I was looking through the scores and the results, and of the 7 judges, one of them had us on over 80%. And I saw that judge the next day and I stopped her and I said to her, God, I said, thank you, you know, for those marks. I said, it's a dream, you know, to see an 8 at the front, you know, that's just mind blowing. Now, who ever thought JP and I would be capable of doing 80%? You know, certainly we didn't think of, you know, 5 years ago. And she said to me, if I can see it, the others will too. And that just made me think, wow, like somebody actually has that belief in us. And we went out the following day and did the special, and hands down, it's the best test JP and I have ever done. Like, we were so in that zone, so focused. And I think, well, not quite sure, but definitely 2 of the judges had us on 80 plus that day. And I
got over 78%.
Got over 78%.
And that's big, like, you know, they're big points, you know, and
80%,
like,
incredible.
It's very, very impressive. And to have like all the 5-star judges sitting there looking at it, and they're all seeing this level, this standard, and they're all agreeing with each other. It's just,
and to think that that they believed in me enough as well to give us those marks. You know, that for me was just like, wow, I never thought we'd get to that point. That was just mind blowing.
For me, it's different. For me, it was Doha in 2015. 2016, March 2016. We'd been working away on qualifying one of the individual spaces, like for the 6 best riders, so we won't go through all
for the
Olympics. But it was down to the last weekend. Doha was the very last show, and Judy had just slipped out of the qualifying spots. and like she was under pressure, you know, like, I mean, it was the first time really kind of, there was a lot riding on it, like, and she pulled out two fantastic tests, and I remember when the score came up for the second one, and it meant that we were in, that we qualified for Rio. Jessica van Breda Verndl was coming in behind me. I was looking at the screen out in the kind of in the tunnel between the warm-up and the show, and when the score came up, I literally jumped and punched the air and woo, like, you know what I mean? Nearly frightened for Jessica off her horse. You know, so couldn't write a test after that. Yeah. But like, that's something we often refer back to. Like, I mean, for me, that proved that you can deal with the pressure. That you like, I mean, you had a lot riding on her shoulders, and you were able to focus. You were able to get it together. You know, you were able to stay in the game and pull it out when it mattered. And like, I would have, like you say, I'm in Judy's ear. I would have referenced that a lot afterwards. Kind of when the pressure comes on, I said, listen, we know we can do this. We've been to Doha where our Olympic spot was riding on it. We've done it before, and we can do it again. So just stay focused and everything else. Like, and it's just that for me was a big moment to kind of, under all the pressure, with so much riding on it, down to the last weekend, and just to pull off such an amazing test was just, for me, very, very important. Yeah.
And as Patrick said, it is something we've been able to, you know,
to draw
on over the years after that, or, you know, in the time after that, because I also would think probably up to that point, I'm not sure I ever really dealt with pressure that well. We'd done a lot of work that winter before, and, you know, in getting better at dealing with it, but that was the first time really when pressure was on, and it really,
there was a lot to lose.
Yeah, a lot to lose.
Like, I mean, normally, okay, the test mightn't go well. You know, what's the worst that can happen? You know what I mean? You're not going to get a Rosetta or something like that, or like, I don't mean to be belittling it or something. You know, you're still best, but here it was something massive to lose.
Go to the Olympics or not go to the Olympics. So massive, And I think since then, some of our best tests have been when the pressure's been on. So, you know,
like in Rotterdam, I remember speaking to you afterwards, and you said, we met at where that little pancake house was, and you said, I told everyone I didn't want to hear what score I had to get. I just followed my routine.
Yeah, everyone was banned from talking to me.
But I mean, that was like, that wasn't just pressure from yourself, like, you know, that was pressure from the nation on you. And you, like, I think that picture, you know, with when you've thrown your hands in the air and your face is just like, that just captures perfectly what it meant. I love that picture, actually, because it's not often that I totally like lose myself in the ring. And, you know,
Judy's very reserved with her emotions after a competition. I mean, JP might get an old good boy, JP. She managed to hold it together pretty well, but that day she
it was. I think when I realized what we'd done, I was just like, it was just that weight coming off, and just being like, we actually have done something pretty incredible.
And then on the other end of the scale, I remember meeting you guys by the mix zone at the World Games in Tryon in 2018, when the freestyle had been cancelled. And I mean, you were gutted. Like, I think you had tears in I think I even had tears in my eyes that day. Like, that was, that must be probably the feeling of the one that got away, Judy, is it?
I kind of have two of those, I suppose, in a way. I have the year before that, JP injured himself just literally a couple of days before the European Championships, which ended up having us out for the best part of a year. And I really felt at that time, that was my championship, you know, because there was, you know, quite a few horses had to withdraw coming up to the championships, and it wasn't, to be honest, it wasn't looking maybe like the strongest field, you know, ever going to a championship. You never know. Championships always bring out the best in people.
It wouldn't have mattered. They could all have been there. You still would have done brilliant.
But it was, you know, perhaps not the strongest field going ever. And JP injured himself literally about 2 days before. Like, Libya was already out. The truck was packed. You know, we were getting ready to go, and he just, you know, he got injured. And I really felt like, that was our chance. If ever there was a time to do well, that was going to be it. And you know, I can remember I saw Carl Hester at some point afterwards. He's like, I was so disappointed for you not to be there. You know, you could have been, you know, top 6 or, you know, something like that. And I was like, I know, you know, that was our chance. And then then the following year going to try on, and then the final be cancelled. I was like, for God's sake, am I ever going to get a chance to do this?
Sure, just a bit of wind and rain. I mean, that's home advantage for us. You know, that's what we do.
So, but as I say, or as I said earlier on, you know, we do try to look for the silver lining in things. And in retrospect, that year that JP had away from competition, you know, overcoming those injuries that he had at that point, it probably was kept him going to be as good as he is at 18 last year.
To help qualify to
17 last year.
Like, I mean, if he kept going for an extra year in competition, then he might not have been.
Able to do.
Girls in green, so
yeah,
you never know. Take it as it comes. Or horses, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
No, I'll just never forget that awful time in Tryon. And as you said, it really was only a bit of wind and rain. In Ireland, it would have just been a wet day or
a regular day, really.
Wearing shorts, and we were doing that interview, Judith.
yeah. So, do you prefer an indoor or an outdoor show? I'm presuming with JP he prefers outdoor. Does he? Am I wrong there?
I really like the World Cup circuit. I have to say, I really enjoy those shows.
It's the best atmosphere you get.
The atmosphere is incredible at them. Yeah, like it makes it for a little bit more entertainment with JP, maybe in terms of, you know, keeping his focus and his concentration. But I enjoy challenge, you know, so that's okay. But but then again, on the other side of it, we love going down to Austria to go to the Fritzen's show with the Swarovski family. Like, that's just an incredible show to go to.
That's an outdoor arena.
That's an outdoor set in the mountains. Yeah. You know, so
Aachen is one of the best shows. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, we don't really have like a favorite, not in terms of what works better for JP. Because he can do both now. Like we did. That's kind of why we started doing World Cup, to get him used to crowds, to get him used to atmospheres, to get him used to concentrating in the ring. Like, I mean, that's really why we started doing that. And then, like, I mean, have you been to Olympia? I presume you have.
Yeah, amazing.
Like, the people could literally reach out and touch you as you ride past. You know, the spectators can. You know, it's just, there's an atmosphere there, and it's amazing. You really feel like you're part of a
special event.
Yeah, a special event. Well, sometimes in some of the much bigger arenas, like when they have it in the football arena, like they did in Normandy in 2014 for the World Equestrian Games, you can almost be a little bit lost, you know, because the crowd are so far away from you, or maybe in such a big space, it doesn't have quite the same atmosphere. But
so I personally, I love the World Cup. I think it's brilliant. I love the electricity of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a great atmosphere, and also I think it's, you know, it's especially when you have a World Cup, like a dual World Cup show, you know, show jumping and or even with the driving as well, and then it's the best of the best. So it's just great sport over 3 or 4 days.
And on that note, actually, how do you feel about the WEG not being the WEG anymore? Now dressage is with jumping, isn't it? God, I should know that. I think it is, actually. So it's still going to have a little bit of a dual factor and a championship feel, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a pity, isn't it? You know, definitely. Like, there's something special about getting all the disciplines together. Like, I know it's a massive undertaking for the organizers, but there's something special about, you know, going and watching the reining, or, you know,
on Bernard O'Sullivan doing it.
Yeah, he was
having the whole group together, you know, is very special. And, you know, because you don't even get that at the Olympics. You know, the Olympics is dressage, show jumping, eventing, you know, so it's the only time you get everybody together, and it's a pity that it's gone. But I understand it's a massive undertaking for the organizers, and you know, it probably should be moved between 2 or 3 venues on a rotation basis, you know, the venues that are able to do it, and leave it with them, and all the nations have to support it, you know, donate towards it or something. But you know, maybe somebody will be brave enough to take it on again, which would be great.
Yeah.
But it's going to WEG is special. Like, I mean, you're dropping the horse off at the edge or something to get his flight, and you're going around and you're looking at the horse, you're saying reiner, eventer, jumper, vaulting, you know, and you're just kind of just so many different ones, endurance horses, you know what I mean? It's just like,
and you meet people that you wouldn't meet, I suppose, you know, like Bernard. I mean, I did a feature with him while I was there, and like he lives in Australia. Like raining isn't the first thing that shows up on our results, you know, and I would never have met him and featured him. So it's really lovely to meet those people, you know, and that.
It's funny actually, like that was our first time meeting, you know, Ben and Julian, and since then, you know, the World Cup shows, you know, they were in Australia, they stay up in the middle of the night to watch my tests. Like Ben will be texting straight when I come out of the ring going, oh my God, you know, best ever
in the morning for him,
or whatever. And we never would have had that connection had we not met
at the World
in
Games.
trial. Yeah. So it's, you know, it's lovely what you, those connections that you can make. And, you know, in a way, it's almost like, it's like the Olympics for horses. You know, it's when you get all the other people together. Like when we were in Rio, it was like some of our best time was like kind of looking at people going, what sport do you reckon they do? You know, trying to work out, you know, from the shape of them, what they might do. And it's a bit like that when you go to a WEG, you know, when you're looking at the different horses going, what do you reckon? Is that a reining horse, or is, you know, what is that?
It's pretty easy to spot the reining horses in fairness now.
Yeah.
But, they wouldn't be the difficult ones.
But it's like the Olympics for horses. It's a pity.
But it's brilliant as well. It's the only time we'd really get to watch most of those disciplines. You know, like, and like it was great fun going and watching the reining and having Bernard explain to us what it is and how it works and everything else. And like, it's just, it's a real pity. Like, I mean, we've had a great time at all of those.
I suppose looking forward, 2021 now is kind of revving up to be a very big year. What are your hopes and dreams? We're at the end of the year, so I guess you can make a wish for 2020. What would that be if you could have one, both of you?
Well, for me, it's that things actually do start again, and you know, we do get back to some kind of normalcy. But I'm obviously really looking forward to Olympics. Hopefully we do get to Tokyo. Hopefully it does actually happen, and you know, we get to be a part of it. I'm very much motivated to, you know, to get to another and hopefully more Olympics, you know, so that's definitely a big goal still on my horizon. You know, and I'm also looking forward to having some, you know, really exciting horses coming out at the top level, and you know, give JP a bit more backup, which would be great. So you know, that's what I'm looking forward to, really.
And sorry to cut across you, would the Europeans also be on the cards, Judy, with one of Leroy or Fritz next year, or do you think it's coming a bit soon? Or
no, I think both of those horses could definitely be ready. You know, Fritz is young, but he's, as I said, he's pretty unflappable, and you know, the great thing about him is he's the same horse in the arena as he is at home. So, you know, I think he definitely could do something like that. Yes, there's lots going to happen next year. You know, it's going to be a busy year, and there's going to be lots to do. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it. You know, thinking hopefully I've got more than one iron in the fire as such, and you know, let's see what comes of it.
Brilliant. Patrick, a wish for 2021?
Golf.
Well, I've recently become a single handicapper. My wish for 2021 is to have the babies picking up their feet in a reasonable manner.
Make sure the basics are looked after. I suppose that's very important.
This is what, obviously for Patrick, having not being away at so many shows, he's had some more time to practice golf. Yeah. So as he says, he's become a single handicapper, which is the biggest achievement happened in art.
Yeah, very good.
Judy doesn't really, is not terribly interested in my golf, Judith, I can tell you now. I came home today, you know, I played quite well, and handicap cut down, single handicapper.
And do you have many Irish? Can you golf with some Irish guys? Bertram is close enough to you there, isn't he?
I play with Bertram sometimes. He's only about 15 minutes away. Bertram is a single handicapper in terms of smack talk. He's not very good at the golf, but he's very good at the smack talk already. Good at the mind. Harry plays a little bit as well. Two of them are talking about joining where I play. which will be good crack. And there's actually one other Irish guy who's a member in the club. I met him there, and we play a bit together. You know, it's nice in a foreign country to have somebody.
They were out today.
Yeah, we were out
together.
today.
Yeah.
Is that why you were late coming on the interview, Patrick?
And like there's a couple of English people in the club, and
no, they're gone.
Are they gone now?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't really.
No, but
follow.
Bertrand was kind of getting into it. You know, he's enjoying it. He has a set of clubs now, and we used to go play. He hasn't played in a couple of weeks. He's a bit of a sunshine golfer, I think. But yeah, himself and Harry are getting into it. They'll join up now, and we'll get out. We'll try and get out once a week together anyway, and have a bit of a chin wag and a chat. And we tend not to talk. I have to say, when I'm out with Bertram, we tend not to talk about horses. We talk about everything else except for horses, you know, which is also
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much. It's been so nice to be in your company for an hour, albeit virtually. And I hope that we can get back to normal and see each other a few times next year. And yeah, that we're all in Tokyo and JP is flying around the place as usual. So thank you so much, and have a lovely Christmas and a very happy New Year as well.
Thank you. Same
Happy Christmas,
to you.
Happy New Year, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.